If you clicked on this video, it's probably because it looks good? No. The title probably caught your eye, The Regression of Shoujo Manga. I feel like regression is such a strong word, but I want to make a disclaimer. I'm only talking about the romance genre of shoujo. This video is more of a rant than anything and solely based off my personal perception of the genre and where it stands currently. And while I talk about that, please enjoy the speed paint I made to resemble a shoujo magazine. Shoujo is an editorial category of Japanese comics gathering adolescent girls or young adult women. It has been around since the early 1900s, primarily dominated by male artists until the 1960s and 70s, when the emergence of female authors began a significant creative innovation and the development of more graphically and thematically complex stories. Give it to women and they're gonna do it right and better every time. Initially with more focus of interpersonal relationships between family members, especially between mothers and daughters in the 60s. In the 90s, we saw more stories focus on father figures, but in between that, in the 70s, there was a shift to write more stories regarding romance, as shoujo manga began to focus on adolescents over children. I'm not going to go more in depth to the history of shoujo in this video, as that's not the main focus, and also a YouTuber known as Colleen Manga Rex has already made an amazing video about it, so please check it out if that interests you. To be blunt, today I'm going to be talking about how female leads are portrayed in manga, specifically mangas of the last couple of years. Admittedly, I've only been reading shoujo manga since maybe 2021. I used to be a strictly BL reader, but I've since diversified my palette. But I have been consuming shoujo romance since as early as 2007 in the form of anime, so I'm going to talk about some titles that I've only seen the anime of, but I can't imagine their personalities changing much from their manga counterpart. Recently, I've experienced a sort of burnout when it comes to romance titles in this category. A genre that would make me giggle and have me dreaming of a similar love story nowadays is unable to evoke more than an eye roll and sigh for me. First, I thought it was simply because I have grown up, I'm an adult woman, and no longer can I be moved by the popular guy who falls in love with the shy girl. But no, the idea of that still moves me, and when done right, I will happily kick my feet and throw my phone away to squeal at the cute moments. So I started thinking, what could be the issue? And manga after manga, I think I finally found it. The female leads make me want to absolutely pull my hair out. I find that most female leads recently are written to be super naive, pure, and shy, even if they are adults, say in university. I find that mangas in this genre from the 90s to 2000 had female leads with more personality and complexities compared to how they're written now. You had the loud types, the quiet girls, that just trying to blend in and move along, but neither ever felt boring or unrealistic. Despite their kind-hearted nature, which is a staple for female leads, they didn't give off doormat vibes with no backbone. Even if they did, it made sense why. Take Toru Honda from Fruit Basket. Though she was ditzy and actually a bit of a doormat, especially with her relatives, it made sense why, because of her narrative and the way her life had been. Or, on the other side, you have Rita from Lovely Complex, who is more outgoing, for example. Despite her insecurities with her height, she didn't let that stop her from having friends, falling in love, and overall speaking her mind when someone tried to make fun of her, despite her being a kind-hearted character. I find that this kind-hearted attributes makes the female leads to be very one-note and at times ignorant, which personally I believe sends an unhealthy message to readers. Take Haruka from Cinderella Closet, one of my favorite manga of late, and I would give it 3 gold stars if it wasn't for an arc towards the end of the series. Haruka does have the pure naivete to her, but it wasn't bad because she was pretty self-aware and didn't let people walk all over her, and having the male lead be a man with a sassy and slightly snarky attitude really helped balance it all. I really enjoyed the series. However, in the last volume, we got the appearance of Hikaru, the male lead's parents, who don't approve of his appearance. He is gender non-conforming and dresses in both feminine and masculine clothing depending on how he feels. Things to know. Hikaru has been living with his aunt since high school. Haruka knows this. Hikaru doesn't like to talk about his parents. Haruka knows this. Hikaru is a cross-dresser in Japanese society. Haruka knows this. Many times throughout the story, he gets surprised that she so easily reveals he's a cross-dresser to people, not thinking much of it. With all this information, when his parents first come into the story, he is in a suit, presented more masculine. They make a comment about it. He leaves, not giving them a time of day. Later, the mom tracks down Haruka because she wants to know how her son is doing, as they haven't spoken in years. Haruka actually speaks to the mom and tells her about him, which honestly had me seething. Haruka leaves feeling conflicted from that meeting because the mom doesn't seem doesn't seem that bad. I think they exchange contact, and through this, the father comes to know about the exchange. They go to their son, they find him with Haruka while he's cross-dressing, and it's shown that both mom and dad are disgusted. The dad says some vile things to him, and the mom doesn't defend or anything. Haruka starts crying, talking about, if this is the way you guys are, you don't deserve Hikaru. But girl, you literally subjected him to hearing all that by being in contact with the mom. After this incident, the mom tracks her down again, and she still agrees to chat with the mom, and because the mom cries about wanting to be in Hikaru's life, she thinks, oh, she's not so bad. That whole thing really killed the story for me. Even if the dad is more vocal about the way Hikaru dresses, the mom, 1, also finds it off-putting, 2, lets her son be subjected to vile words by her husband. That alone is enough for me to not like her, not to mention she made a comment about how she's glad her son, Hikaru, is dating a girl. Like, oh. And through all this, Haruka is thinking, but me and my family get along so well, I can't imagine families being any other way. Mind you, this is a 20-year-old. I feel like this just really kills the character, especially if they don't learn from it and are treated as if they are in the right. There's more to say about this, but this speed paint only lasts so long. Then there's the fact that they are written to have absolutely no self-preservation. Oh my dear Heavenly Father, this will actually have me drop a manga. I get that most shoujo and josei female leads are Japanese, and Japanese people aren't known to be very outgoing and tend to be on the reserved side, but they still live in a society that oppresses women, no? Where women are usually the target of violence and harassment, so naturally, as everywhere in the world, women tend to be more guarded, especially with men. But when that doesn't happen in manga, and they get so easily pushed around and don't have their guard up, it just feels very male fantasy coded. And you see this a lot in josei titles, where the female lead goes drinking and is a lightweight because how could a woman ever be able to hold her alcohol, God forbid, and essentially gets sexually assaulted by the male lead. And it's written and framed to be romantic. I don't get how these stories have women as its main demographics at all, which leads me to my second point. The male gaze prevalent in shoujo romance. At first, I couldn't really put my finger on it. I couldn't understand why stories targeted towards girls have women and girls written so unrealistically, writing girls to be this pure and naive little thing. If you look at the 90s and 2000s, Japan was at a period where women were starting to push back against traditional gender roles. But of course, those expectations were and are still deeply ingrained. So I imagine that's why there were female leads more outspoken, or at least had stronger convictions. They reflected women's roles and desire at the time. But now, with comparatively more career opportunities and many rejecting marriage and traditional expectations altogether, instead of embracing that and having a show forth in shoujo romance titles, I can't help but feel like there's been a regression. Like the industry is clinging harder to the pure, naive, self-sacrificing women as the ideal. The whole female lead has to be endlessly forgiving and devoted to emotional labor thing kind of feels like a fantasy designed to comfort people who don't like that women are choosing themselves over family and marriage. It's like saying, look girls, this is what a real good woman looks like. Do you see it? Do you see it? As if being naive, endlessly nurturing, and prioritizing others' feelings over your own is still the ultimate goal. I mean, there are still strong, self-aware female leads here and there, but I feel as if they're way less common now, and the ones we do get usually have their independence framed as a flaw, like they need to be softened by love or taught how to be more emotional. What's wild is that there's plenty of female readers who want smarter, more complex female leads in romance and elsewhere, but the industry keeps pushing the same bland, borderline regressive characters for some reason. I've also recently learned that a majority of the editors for these stories are men, and when I learned that, it just made sense. I was like, I got it, of course. On to my last point, and arguably most important for me, is the loss of friendship between the main characters. Now this could be simply a me thing, but can we please get rid of insta-love in these stories? I miss the days where it would take the main characters volumes upon volumes to get together, not because they keep dancing around each other with feelings clearer than the waters in the glaciers of Norway, but because they are just genuinely not interested in each other. They might have crushes on other people, or none at all, and slowly start to develop feelings for each other as the story moves along. Note, I said developing, not that I've always secretly loved you since grade school nonsense. I find that the real charm in some shoujo titles or how comfortable the characters are with each other, the chemistry they have as characters without the involvement of romance, how well they can banter and be there for each other without romantic mechanic gives a more solid sense to the story about to unfold as they later come to have, feelings for one another. It seems recently, or at least from the stories that I've read, the characters aren't really given much space to grow and develop without the existence of their love interest. And while that's not necessarily a bad thing, I would like to get to know the characters beyond their crush or love. It seems that just within reading a story, the first few chapters, you already know that, oh, these two have a crush on each other. And that's kind of all they see each other as romantic partners. Like, I wouldn't say that they see each other as, like, my best friend or, someone that I just trust wholeheartedly, even if they weren't my partner kind of vibe. But that's all for me. I feel like this is a topic I could go on for days, but alas, I must cut it here. I am curious if anyone has a similar feeling to me, and if you guys have noticed this regression as well, or maybe I'm just bugging. If you guys have any recommendations of manga, I would absolutely love to hear them. Thank you so much for watching. Oh, what did you think about the art? I thought it was super cute. That's just me glazing myself, I guess. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!